Howdy, it's me and Carice. Fear not, she's in there, able to breathe. I don't know if you can see, but her little nose has these little vents. And when I was in the hospital, I said, and I was learning how to breastfeed, and her face was all like smashed up against my boob. I was like, oh my gosh, can she breathe? And the nurse goes, yeah, she's got vents. And I was like, what do you mean vents? Like, like gills? And she's like, yeah, the little like crease in her nose is sufficient, I guess. So if she's ever kind of mashed up against, she can breathe through her vents. And that's been my experience with baby wearing. We're outside, and the cool thing about doing skin to skin is a mom's body cools the baby, and it also warms the baby if the baby is too cold. So if she gets too hot, my body is capable of cooling her down and helping her regulate her temperature, and vice versa. If she gets too cold, I can warm her up. So lots of cool things that we're learning on the other side of pregnancy. So I did post a lot about my journey, about everything I was learning along the way. You know, I talked a lot about home birth and natural stuff, and I ended up in the hospital. So I'm going to tell my story, because I honestly think I had an incredible experience, and it didn't go the way I wanted. It caused me to have to confront some of my bigger fears in life. Oh my gosh. But, I feel like that is not a bad thing. God promises us that He can turn anything into a vessel for His glory. He can turn anything, no matter how dark, no matter what the enemy intends for evil, and He can use it to our advantage. And that's exactly what He did with my birth story. And that's what He promised me that He would do from the beginning. So whenever I learned that I was pregnant, one of the very first things that God said to me was, this is going to be a redemptive experience for you. And I immediately saw myself in the hospital. I didn't tell anyone that. Oh, I'm gonna cry. I hope not. I guarantee you I will by the end of this story. He's so faithful. That's the thing. Like, He told me this will be a redemptive experience for you, and I saw myself in the hospital. And I'm a firm believer in contend for what you want, contend for, God says, many are the plans of the man, but the Lord establishes his steps. And the way that I interpret that, and the way that I interpret the will of God, and what I've seen in my own relationship with God, is His will is very much kind of like the game of football. You have a whole field to play on. You've got the boundary lines. You can play a variety of different plays. You can take different positions. You can make different passes. The game has a lot of freedom within it. However, you can't step out of bounds. The game cannot be played out of the boundary lines. And God, within His will, I think He delights in watching us play the game of life. And I think He delights in watching us make our plans and pursue them. But I think because of His goodness and because of His faithfulness, when He sees that we are veering off course and getting out of bounds, He's going to blow the whistle so that we can get back and play the game right. Because without rules, without structure, without boundaries, we miss the opportunity for glory. We miss the opportunity for the divine will and purpose of God. We miss the opportunity for our best, and to know Him. And He's holy, and He is zealous for His holiness. He is zealous for His righteousness. So He's not going to allow us to get by with dishonoring the boundaries that He has set in place. And I've seen that throughout my story as well, because when He told me this is going to be a redemptive experience, I said to the Lord, after seeing myself in the hospital, I said, okay, God, I don't want that. If you can spare me of that, I pray that you will. I want a natural birth experience. However, I don't want to go anywhere if you're not there. I hold this with open hands. I am going to give you my will. I'm going to trust that where my will does not conform to yours, you will help me catch my heart and my mind and my intentions up so that by the end of this experience, I'm going to be in agreement with you and I'm going to proclaim your goodness and I'm going to mean it. I'm not just going to say God is good because that's what a good Christian says. I'm going to say it because I mean it and because I experience it. We might be taking a little dinner break before too long. So that is the premise of this story. Let me look at my baby. Are you waking up? Do you want to feed? Do you want some boobies? We've been asking her, do you want some boobies? And she'll like look around and like, you know, like I want some. So she's going to be that kid. But that's the premise of the story. I also believe as we are pursuing these goals, I mean, there's nothing unholy or wrong about saying, okay, you know, like I have a core value of natural living, holistic, you know, and because I was doing all of this research and because, you know, I've spent a significant amount of time learning in a variety of ways. I didn't just read, you know, 10 or 12 books. I was interviewing people. I was watching videos. Sorry. I was, you know, on YouTube every day for a large portion of the day, learning from different podcasts and resources and stuff like that about both sides of the argument. And I have concluded that it's not only safer, and I can't really say that. I really believe wherever a woman feels safest is where she's going to have the best experience. And I personally feel most safe at home. I don't go and see the doctor on my own. You know, I think I've been maybe once or twice in the last 8 or 9 years. I don't take medicine. I haven't, until this experience, I haven't had so much as a Tylenol for 8 years, since 2015, and we're in 2023. So that's a long time to go without, you know, any medicine. I have used a lot of herbs and supplements and natural remedies, and tinctures and, you know, things like that. And as a result of learning more about holistic practices, I've received healing in my body from endometriosis, ovarian cysts, infertility, and then lots of other things along the way, like learning how to treat my period. They were debilitating before. The pain and the just the intensity of it was debilitating before. So learning how to use things like potassium, magnesium, heat, you know, movement, yoga, breathing techniques. Like there's so many resources that we have available to us that are very underrated. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with taking medicine, but if I look at it and I think, okay, what are the negative long-term effects of taking Tylenol or ibuprofen, and you learn about the liver damage that you can experience and kidney damage and, you know, different things like that. Why would you do that when you could pop a magnesium and potassium supplement, have the same effect with the pain relief, use a heating pad, and then not have the same negative side effects? Like, why would you want to do it naturally? So I approached birth and my pregnancy with the same mindset and intentions. I'm going to wrap this one up and then continue just so that the videos are not too long.